Okay, these are videos for my Year 13s comparing Blake with Webster. I'm going to try and give some close readings of Blake's songs of innocence and experience. The key thing I want you to think about is pairing the poems next to one another. I will try and make links with Webster when I can, but I think I want to focus just on the reading of the poems so that in class we can do that work. So the first thing we're going to look at is the introduction to the Innocents. Remember the subtitle of this, Two Contrary States of the Human Soul. But contrary meaning opposites, but not really, because for Blake there maybe complementary might be a better way of thinking about them. The two parts of the human soul. So in the beginning we get the poem introduction. So let me just get in a little bit tighter here so we can, it's nice to be able. Piping down the valleys wild, piping songs of pleasant glee, on a cloud I saw a child, and he laughing said to me, the repetition, we have music. The wildness is a good thing. It doesn't seem frightening. It's an image, it's a pastoral green place. We have the child, but also on a cloud, so it's almost like an angel or something otherworldly. Pipe a song about a lamb. So I piped with merry cheer. Piper piped that song again. So I piped, he wept to hear. So here we have music. We have this figure who we will see later on, who evokes a Christian sense of Jesus, but also meek, peace. And look what the song does. The song can make someone cry. Drop thy pipe, thy happy pipe, sing thy songs of happy cheer. So I sung the same again, while he wept with joy to hear. So from music, we move to just the song of the voice. So we go from music to voice, and again, it has the power to make you cry, poetry. It has the power to do something to you. Piper, sit thee down and write in a book that all may read. So he vanished from my sight, and I plucked a hollow reed. So from song we go to writing. And he's writing almost on order of this other creature. It's like he's talking to the muse. And in a book that all may read. So everyone can get access to this. So he vanished from my sight, and I plucked a hollow reed. And I made a rural pen, and I stained the water clear. And I wrote my happy songs, every child may joy to hear. We get that tension between hearing and reading. Songs and poems. How do you stain something clear? That tension is very interesting to me, because what it seems that Blake is already aware of in this opening introductory poem is the idea of poetry and music full of contradictions, but it's also full of sound, emotion, and it can bring a truth, which is that clarity, I think. And it contrasts with the obfuscation, the lies, the distortion of entities like, for example, the church or industry, in nature, with children, in art, we get the idea of clarity, joy, weeping, but not with sadness, with joy. And joy, of course, is something that is repeated throughout. I think what's crucial, I think as we start to read the poems, and we see this in the criticism from Swinburne onwards, the experience poems are really easy to like a lot more, because the Innocence poems seem really twee and green and childish. But it's so crucial, I think, to read them next to one another. And that's how we get the effect. And I think Blake's achievement in these poems is the deceptive simpleness, the simplicity of these poems. But when read next to each other, they enhance. And of course, that's Northrop Frye's point, that you can't really read them in isolation, that the Innocents are speaking to the experience, and the experience are speaking to the Innocents. So in the opening introduction poem for Innocence, we get this idea of singing, being told to sing, and this idea of emotion, moving from song to the written word, and being able to share it, and this idea of unification. Here, in the experience poem, we get a sense of that loss of unity, I would argue. Hear the voice of the bard, who present, past, and future sees, whose ears have heard the holy word that walked among the ancient trees. Now we're receiving song. We're receiving word. We're not creating it. And for Blake, that's a worrisome situation, because it's the bard that seems to have the power. Okay? And we're trusting in him. And it's not a bad thing, but it's not as good. Now this stanza, I would say, is the crucial one. Calling the lapsed soul and weeping in the evening dew that might control the starry pole and fallen light renew. I mean, that's just, for me, so beautiful. Lapsed is fallen out of grace. Again, Northrop Frye would argue that to understand what Blake is doing in these poems, we really need to understand the idea of Eden and man's fall. Not actual, but perhaps metaphoric. The removal from that unity with God and nature. We are now lapsed. We are fallen from that state. And as a result, we cry. We are sad. And the evening is suggestion of darkness, death, like lateness, that might control the starry pole and fallen night renew. The poet can control, can have power over nature. Really? Is that true? And can they, that repetition is fantastic. Fallen. We're lapsed. We're fallen. And poetry, the poet has the chance for reconnecting us to nature, to God. And this may be true, but in the world of Blake, there's something we should worry about. We yearn. I think what I like about this is I hear the yearning for unity. But I feel like Blake is tricking me in the idea that someone can control nature or renew and bring me back from this fallen place. O earth, return, arise from out the dewy grass. Night is worn, and the morn rises from the slumbering mass. There's something that's exhausted and destroyed, and there's the potential for art to save us. I mean, you're not going to get that in Webster, are you? Even in the ending, there is no real, there's just glimmers, but not really the sense of hope. And I wonder in Blake if he's playing with our expectations, that we want some power to bring us back, to pull us into unification. Turn away no more. Why wilt thou turn away? The starry floor, the watery shore is given thee till the break of day. So it's in nighttime. We are given the night. And the experience poems are more of the night. And this poem is saying it's the stars and the water is ours. So don't turn away from it. Turn away no more. Don't turn from the night. There is potential here too. And I think that's the key thing to think about in terms of like innocence and experience. Heaven and hell. There's a unity here that he thinks is essential. And if ye only yearn for this fallen to be unified back, then we're missing the point. Don't turn away from this moment. Don't turn away from the night.